Hello everyone, welcome back to Practical Metal. My name is Mike Ray. Today we're going to be doing some work on the Kearney Trecker. We're carrying on now that we got it in the shop. We're going to be working on starting to do some cleanup on it. I was looking at going through and just kind of taking off and degreasing everything and looking at everything over, and I decided that pretty much I think what I'm going to go ahead and do instead of going through that step is just run the Citristrip on it and go ahead and take that paint off. That's the intention anyway, is to get that old paint off that unit and go ahead and get it cleaned up. So I'm going to just do that, so get a couple shots of that going on today, and we'll get it started and applied and let it sit and let it do its thing and work that old paint off of there. Probably will end up pulling the doors off the unit, just some stuff that's simple to take off. I'll go ahead and pull that off, the electrical boxes and things like that. But once we get those bigger components off, that's all I'm going to do for now. Just keep working through and pulling it all off and get it assessed. So anyway, again, Mike Ray, Practical Metal, practicalmetal.com. Thanks for joining us here today, and let's get into it. So basically we're going to be using the Citristrip product. Seen quite a few usage of this on these old machines, and it works really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start coating this thing down and letting it sit. I'm going to obviously be working on a few other things here in between, but I'll get this stuff coated down and then probably do the first pass with the doors on, but then I'll pull these doors off each side and go from there. So this is probably about as exciting as watching paint dry. So we'll make this a quick clip so you can see it going. I'll fast forward it and we'll go from there. All right, so we got it on the top part here. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to keep working my way down. You know, this has only been about 13 minutes since I put it on, and it is already starting to peel some of the paint up, so that's good. So we're going to let that work on it for a while, and we'll just let it sit. You can already, like I said, you can already see it wrinkling up right here. And I just started with this, so basically we can leave it on here for 24 hours and then, you know, just let it work and penetrate. So I'm going to look at it, I'll keep working on it, and I'll just kind of keep working my way down on this, and then as we go. So you can see, open this up, we'll kind of go down here a little bit. We're down here at this point now, so I'm just going to scrape this off. You can see there's a lot of paint flaking off here. So you really, you know, when you're doing strip work, you want to get all that off, because that's just stripper that you don't, you know, you're wasting it. If it comes off that easy, you should need to just wire brush over it, or, you know, needle scale it a little bit maybe if you want to go that route, or just scrape it off. You know, what I'm doing today is I'm just hitting it with this scraper, and it's knocking it right off. So I said earlier I didn't know if this thing had ever been repainted, but looking at it close, you can see it's had, I think it's seriously only showing one coat of paint, you know, on top of the original paint. So, you know, we're talking about a machine that was built sometime in the late 30s, early 40s, even though the serial number again says it's a 1938 model. The data plates on it suggest something different. So, but anyway, as you can see, I've got a lot of this stuff just kind of flaking off. We can even look further down this way and see, you know, there's just a lot of this stuff's just gonna come right off. So I'll do all this first. You know, of course I got a drop cloth on the floor, but this one, get as much of this off of there as I can before I even put the stripper on there. So, and I'll just keep working this and getting all these areas, and like I said, we'll do a rough pass with this stuff, and then we'll tear it down and get into some details on it. So, like I said, I see this black is either a filler. I don't think it's the cast iron. I think it's like a finish coat that's on these things. And then I hope that the stripper doesn't mess that up. Then we've got one layer of paint, and then what appears to be a second layer. So doesn't look like it's had too many paint jobs, which can be a good thing. All right, guys, I'm gonna get back after it, and then we'll go from there. Okay guys, we are back. It's been only about 25 or 30 minutes, and I must say that I'm quite impressed with this Citristrip. Shout out to Brad Jacobs for, you know, educating us on this stuff. You can see that literally that short of a time, you know, this first layer of paint is actually starting to come off. So let's clean off my scraper here. But the paint's just wrinkling up, so it's, you know, it's doing good. So I'll just keep working this and leaving it on here. What I will do is you can see that some of this stuff's coming up real quick already. So let me back out just a tad here. You can see it up here. It's already rolling up the paint. So what I need to do with that is, you know, get that out of the way and put another coat on underneath that. So again, this has only been 45 minutes maybe that it's already took this first layer off. So maybe that's just due to this older paint or whatever. It's, you know, coming off anyway, but it's literally just melting the paint away. So we'll keep working on this and see how well it does. I can feel that coat underneath's a little bit stronger. That original coat of paint down here seems like it's adhering pretty good. But anyway, I'll keep working on this and scraping away at it and spreading the stuff out and making sure that I got the stripper on all the different layers as I mess with it. All right, so we'll do that some more. And I've got the machine, basically the back half of this Kearney and Trecker. It's not a big machine as far as footprint goes. It's heavy, but I think I've used down to here, you know, in this part on the Citristrip on this part. So probably take, I bought 2 of these, so it'll probably end up taking the better part of 2 of these, if not a few more, Citristrip to get it going. But again, it's working really well. I'm going to keep working on that, and then as we get more and more of this stripped off, we'll come back and I'll keep up and showing you how it goes. I want to capture this a little bit here on tape because I've seen this in some of the pictures, but looking back at this mill, as you get down into these layers, you start seeing that at some point, you may not be able to get it before all the paint actually comes off, but looks like the letters were painted red. I'm sure it won't take it off even, but I think we'll get back to that. You can see it a little bit up here as well on the Model H. You can see that red trying to come through. If this will show up or not. Keep working it, but the serial number on this unit is 25-2357. 25-2357. Get in here a little tighter. I believe that's picking up on the camera. 25-2357. Ease out here for you guys. Yep. Looks like it's coming off all the way down. One thing I noticed about this unit on the plane that I've got, which would, make sense. The plane model I've got says it has the War Finish logo on it. A lot of these machines that you see all say they have the War Finish logo. This machine does not, and I think that has to do with the year, obviously being a 38, pre-war, right? Pre-World War II anyway, between U.S.'s involvement in World War II, but just trying to get in here and clean out all these grit and grime that's down in these letters. So some of that could be that body filler that's in here. As a matter of fact, I see some of that coming out. So that could actually end up not being a good sign for my Citristrip messing up the actual filler material. But if it does, it's not a big deal. I will just end up taking it out and redoing it, because I really want to be able to see the logo like I want to. like the thought of bringing one of these old machines back to, pretty good operating condition. Again, I'm not trying to do a complete machine restoration on this thing because it's not that big of a deal, but anything that we can do to these old machines to put them in a good working order, that's good, because I may actually end up, if I decide in the future that I want to do a complete teardown, then a lot of this kind of work's already done. So, but we'll just keep chipping away at it and working on all this and slowly get all this stuff off. So definitely takes a while. But these little Harbor Freight pick sets are $1 a piece or whatever they are. They're really handy. I use them for all kind of stuff. So all right, guys, we'll just keep on working. It's a Model H Kearney and Trecker, slowly coming out of the funk. I wanted to bring you guys in on this and look and show you one of the things that I see here that's helping too. As we get into this material that's sloughing off already, we've got quite a lot of it pretty quick. I'm actually taking my brush and rubbing it in, and what that's doing is basically redeploying that Citristrip. You can see where the stuff's coming off. Like right here, you see where it's let's see if I can pull in there and get that. You can see where it's coming off right here. It's a good example of it coming off. So if I take my brush and I just push it, then all that moves. But what I'm doing is I'm just redeploying that Citristrip on that underlay. So I can just sit here and keep doing this. This stuff is real wet, and it can still be redeployed. So you kind of get good use out of the stripper. So be careful here in this area on these machines. I don't want to shove stuff up in there. I'm going to pull this cover off too, and and eventually clean all that. But right now I'm just concentrating on getting this material, keeping it deployed, and then I'll scrape it all off. So looks like it's doing a good job though. So we'll keep redeploying it and see how far we can stretch it. Let's see back here. All this is that layer of that, whatever that second coat was they put on there was just either real thin or just not real good paint, or more than likely being a shop paint job, they probably didn't prep the paint underneath very well. Down here, you got to be careful around this because that's obviously the oil field. Now obviously this machine is going to get completely flushed out and cleaned out, but you don't want to get paint flakes down in the oil because you might not get them out, and then that could get around and clog up some of the pickup tubes that for distributing oil, because these things have oil distribution systems in them to keep all the gears lubricated. So I'll just keep on redeploying this stuff, and once I get it like I want it, we'll just let it sit for a while. All right, so we've been working on the Milwaukee this afternoon. We've had the Citristrip on it, and it's looking really good, actually. Paint's coming off really good. I've gotten basically worked on this side. I got some more scraping to do. I'm actually just using like a putty knife to actually scrape it all off. The Citristrip has done a great job softening everything up. So I'm going to keep working at her. I'm going to keep working on it and getting the rest of that paint off so that when I sand it down, it'll all be nice and smooth. You can see I've been able to get in here and clean up the logo really good. It actually had a little bit of that body filler that's looks like where they were originally smoothing up the casting in between the letters. So I got all that cleaned out. So we got the Model H part cleaned up pretty good. I still got some work to do on that, but you can see the serial number really good now. So trying to work and make sure that as I scrape after that, I don't scratch that surface up. So we're going to keep working on this, and I believe I'll go ahead and put this short video up of the work that I've done with the Citristrip. And when I get through with all this and get it all sanded down, I'll come back and then we'll start working on the primer coat and getting a good solid primer coat on it. I want to do a good hard coat of paint on it and get everything painted back up. So far so good. One good thing about it not being such a large unit, it's going pretty fast. Got a lot of nooks and crannies, so it does take a little bit of time, but I probably only have about 2 hours of work today invested in it, so not too bad. This was where a shop hand would be nice, but I guess I am my shop hand. This is Mike Ray, Practical Metal, practicalmetal.com. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks.